but I do want to raise it with Harlan Hill, Democratic strategist. Harlan, this young woman was getting back to what could be a problem for Hillary Clinton. Her supporters are not passionate, that Bernie Sanders supporters are. Even the few African Americans he gets, like this young lady. What do you say?
Well, I think that she's trying to tap into some passion around certain issues. I'm looking at what she said last night about Sandy Hook, and actually last night wasn't the first time she mentioned it. It really drives me pretty crazy. She has asked on multiple occasions for Senator Sanders to apologize to the parents of the victims of Sandy Hook for their murder, for the horrible tragedy that happened there. This is outrageous. She is trying to leverage the death of these young children for her own political gain. And she's doing it because she thinks she's done cold, hard political calculus, and she's determined that she needs to activate young, primarily female voters to get out to the polls around certain issues that they care about. And gun control is one of those issues. But she takes it too far.
Well, I think what she was saying, and I'm not taking sides here, I think she was saying that he's kind of loosey-goosey on this whole gun control issue, and how diligent would he be at following up.
He was very clear. Yeah, I don't want to get too far down in the weeds, but he was very clear that he didn't think that gun shop owners should be held liable and gun manufacturers should be held personally liable for what people do with guns. Yeah, and they shouldn't be.
All right. And anyway. You're right. She took it to the next level. But it's interesting, and I've heard you before, I mean, on this Hillary Clinton pursuit of the White House, she does have a big lead, but she doesn't have your support. Why?
I'm not alone. I think that it comes down to one question, and it's trust. Does she have it? Can we trust her to have a steady hand in the White House? And I don't see it. When you look at, scandals.
You would see Bernie Sanders having more of a steady hand?
Look, even when you poll the national electorate, including Republicans, 70% of people, I was looking at the Fox News poll, thought that this guy had the temperament to be president. There's nobody else in the field.
To be president. He scored very high on integrity.
Very high.
So, but yet there are a lot of his supporters who would not support Hillary Clinton, and many Hillary Clinton supporters who would not support Bernie Sanders, though far fewer. Are you worried that this is going to cause a serious problem in Philadelphia at the convention?
Regardless of if there's a problem in Philadelphia or not, 40%, almost 40% of Bernie Sanders supporters say that they will not support Hillary Clinton in the general election, and I expect that number to grow.
All right, well, where will they go?
Well, I think that they'll either stay home or they'll cross over. I've been pretty clear on this. And it's
Who would they cross over to?
Donald Trump. That's it. They're not going to vote for Ted Cruz. I think Donald Trump has. I'm going to do like a test at some point. Who said it, Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders? There's a lot of commonality between these two candidates, believe it or not, particularly on issues of trade. I think that there's common ground that if Donald Trump plays his cards right, he could appeal to a lot of Democrats.
All right. Well, this is going into Twilight Zone territory. Are you saying then that a lot of these Democrats who are dissatisfied with Hillary Clinton would go so far as to vote for Donald Trump instead?
That's worst case scenario for her.
Would you do that?
I would. I would. I've said it on air before. I'm going to say it again. I am looking at Donald Trump. I may cast a ballot in support of him. I may even actively work to elect him. I feel that strongly about Hillary Clinton that she doesn't have the judgment, and her record at the State Department and her time as U.S. Senator back up that.
All right. Now, when you look at all these polls, and like you say, and I've heard you say this before, you can't rely on it because they change so fast.
Yeah.
She would win in all these one-on-one matchups. Oddly enough, so would Bernie Sanders. Does it surprise you that Bernie Sanders, an avowed socialist, would beat any of the Republican candidates running for president right now?
I think it says a lot about the current state of politics. What people don't understand is that we don't care about the minute details of policy. Americans care about jobs, the economy, ISIS, and to some degree immigration, many people on the far right. So the candidates need to talk about these issues in those terms. You know, I've said this again, I've used the example. I have friends that are graduating from college and law school. They got $250,000 in debt and they can't get a job. It's bad out there. Bernie Sanders supporters aren't socialists. They're desperate. They don't have options. And so that's why they're gravitating towards him. I don't think that the American electorate is socialist, but that's how bad they feel about their options.
You're angry enough, you call yourself communist.
If you're desperate enough, sure.
All right.
I'm certainly not
thank you
bad.
very, very much.